we are at the end of 18th of May, and I thought it might be worthwhile doing a quick recap. It was a pretty interesting turn. You may not be able to tell the details from the video, but the last couple of turns down here, after we crossed at this railroad bridge here, we penetrated across this little river here into this town. I think it's Vuilliers, I forget what its name is now. It's covered up with counters. And a couple of attacks had weaned off some of the Panzer battalions, which was a good thing. And this turn, that trend continued, but not because of attacks by the French. It was more as a result of artillery. The French spent 4 or 5 SP this turn, supply points this turn, barraging units, and this particular stack here lost their motorized or armored cars, and these guys up here lost their armored cars as well. In fact, they need where'd he go? They need to be DG'd. So artillery has become the French best friend, I think, and DG'd this big stack as well. That's got a huge wacky units which the Germans were preparing to use to assault down here and try and break through. Now that can't go on forever, obviously enough, because I have milked a lot of the supply out of this staging area, nearly everything off this wagon. Next turn we'll get another 10 minimum, but that's not going to keep us afloat long term. We did try and do an attack down here, and when I ran the odds, it just not good. There was a 60% chance of us taking losses, 65% chance of the French taking losses, and you think, well, okay, that's fine. It's you got to do what you got to do, but you look at it the other way. There was only a 10% or 12% chance of us inflicting a loss. Is that right? Well, it was higher than that. It was 19%, but I think at that rate, to inflict a step loss and maybe force a retreat back 1 hex, to put all of this at jeopardy, maybe having to either retreat or take 2-step losses, didn't seem like a good trade-off to me, given that we'd already DG'd the unit. So, it is what it is. I can't see myself throwing guys into the fodder for no reason. Maybe that's what we will be required to do at some point. Down here, during the turn 5, the Germans attacked pretty aggressively here, just with 1 division, actually 2 divisions, the 71st and 73rd, and a couple of breakdowns, and are pushing towards Vitron. That is going to cut off this frickin' 2nd Cav and 3rd Cav, these units, which are giving me minor headaches here. I've had to deploy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 breakdowns and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divisions to kind of keep them in a box. Plus I've got another half a dozen divisions and breakdown units down here, keeping all this in place. So that's taking away from my ability to do battle down there and throw in divisional steps of infantry to be used as fodder. Every attack I run the risk of losing the Panzer battalion, which weakens our punch. So the Germans decided to try and meander up this way a little bit and see if we can't force some action there, since this is kind of bogged down a little bit. Dinant is here. This was one of the places where the Germans got to turn 1, equivalent turn 1, I guess, or turn 2. Hasn't been a priority for us at the moment. I can see why it would be a priority, though. It's got a main road, rail access, and if you can capture Namur, then that really does allow you to cut supply off to Belgium. So it makes perfect sense. We are not going to be trying to do that, I don't think, even though I probably do have enough forces to if I wanted to push aggressively here, we could. Right now, our focus is on breaking this open, and Germans might have a chance at doing that next turn, even with some of these suppressed units. Worrisome, though, is this rear flank. I've got the 13th motorized down here now, 10th Panzer, the Kleist Army Group, Kampf Group, 2nd motorized, 5th Panzer, 6th Panzer, you name it, 1st Panzer, 8th Panzer, is that 8th? I think that's 8th, the purple guys are 8th, and 10th, they're all down there. They need to do something and make use of their resources. They have not done that in the 5th turn. So, migrating from here up to here, real quickly, we eliminated 6 steps, 6 units, probably 8 or 9 steps here. They were out of supply, tried to do a breakout and failed miserably. And I think an ARDI unit and one minor unit escaped. That really does open things up for us here. I now have a wealth of divisions here. There's 10 divisions just here that I can at least lock these pieces in place, whilst the SST, 4th Panzer, and I've got 3 divisions in here, the other SS unit, and 3rd Panzer, and a couple others in here, make a push for Antwerp. They managed to break through the hedgehog defense here pretty easily, actually. It was easier to attack that than it was to attack this headquarters with a 10 in it. Lost a lot of air last turn as well. We lost 3 squadrons of air of Heinkels last turn. We have penetrated all the way down to St. Nicholas down here, and just keeping those guys keep the British at bay here while we encircle these fellas and try and choke them down a little bit. That may be difficult because they've got this port hex here, so I'm probably going to have to reduce the port before I could choke them off completely. Nevertheless, that's not really the goal. The goal here is to break through here in strength, cross over at Boom, and start forcing this withdrawal so we don't have to do much fighting here. And then by driving here, it gives me a choice of obviously going for the ports, but then also coming around this way and cutting this entire army off. That would be a nice goal, probably not possible given the way the map works and the rail works. Nothing going on up here. We can pretty much take this map away and just focus on this portion of the board. So it was a pretty interesting turn, not a lot of action. We've almost got in this area here, once we break this rail line connection here, the Belgians are cut off and they will either retreat out or surrender pretty quickly, I think. So Belgians should go, should at least surrender, if not, well, they won't surrender, but they'll be out of supply by the end of the 20th, and hopefully out of the way by the 22nd, 24th, and that would be goodness. They don't have a whole lot of supply in here. I just put some in this turn. There's 2, actually. Yeah, there's 7 in there, but they have a ton of steps here. 7, 10. There's 12 points in there, so they've got quite a few SP, but there's a lot of steps that need feeding. There's the HQ. All right, that's it. That's the end of turn 5, the end of the 18th of May turn, and we're going to start the 20th